What's happening, people? So I asked myself the title. Technology is a niche. So I asked myself the question: which would a future human or group of humans prefer? Would they prefer to see a human that is a little bit better, or would they prefer to see a machine that could do something that is beyond belief? And the arena I'm thinking about initially is sports. I grew up playing sports. I like sports. So each year we kind of get a little bit better. But there seems to be a plateau. There is a plateau on what our bodies can do. And to see a machine do something that's just beyond belief. To run the 100 meters in I don't know how many seconds. I mean the potential is amazing, and this would apply not just to sports, obviously, but beyond that. You could ask this question for workers, obviously, and that's the question we ask constantly. But also psychologists, decision makers, leaders, sexual partners, friends, even. I think right now I've grown up in a culture dominated by human agents, dominated by a culture that would have misgivings about machines occupying these roles. And not just misgivings, I think in many cases we would reject it outright. This is obviously changing. And the culture that exists today, the next generations, it's that belief, that ideology, that rejection of machine over a human it's eroding. But that would not necessarily be total. This erosion, it wouldn't be necessarily an overriding kind of global human philosophy that machines can occupy any role. Perhaps a majority, but not everyone. And I think, the variations in the culture that exist today are only increasing. There's a trap that I fall into, and that is that the advance of technology will be total, that there is an inevitability and a totality to it, that it spreads and it consumes and it overcomes any obstacle. And I think that ignores the choice that can be made. I think more and more choices are being made by smaller groups of people, niches, and there is kind of an awareness of our own power. There is an awareness of the malleability of our own identity and our group identity, and an awareness of the multiplicity of identities. There's a willingness to say no to the majority as well. It's now become not just okay, it's become cool in many places to say no to what is expected, to tradition. And I think this is going to grow. It's going to get more ingrained in the culture. I think there's still a class of people that follow the trends and respond to advertising, and they just take what's given to them without much question. And I think in many respects you have the kind of mainstream technology that will occupy that role, kind of as a consumer good for a consumer culture. But this won't necessarily be the dominant power, even though it's a majority. I think given enough niches, the majority is no longer so powerful. It ceases to be the majority, even though it ceases to be the dominant majority, even though it occupies that numerical majority. It becomes the largest niche amongst many. And I mean, there's this long tail in our culture that you hear about, and it's growing and splintering and strengthening. And what distinguishes a lot of these groups is the choices they make. And there is a choice whether you want to incorporate technology into your niche, into your culture, or not. And I think that's a good choice to have. I think the technology will and is occupying a power that's so great. It's like there's this temptation to accept it. But I think the culture today would recognize that, and many people would reject it out of hand. Kind of an automatic response, an automatic reaction to anything that's so accepted, so unquestioned, so powerful. In fact, yeah. I do think that this division can become like these choices and these identities and these groups based on, kind of arbitrary choices and without so much spirit behind them. But when there is spirit there, I think that's a strength that we enjoy, and it is growing. I think that's a good thing. I think this multiplicity, what I'm talking about, all these different niches, these cultures that are growing, they may be the answer to many of the difficulties, the problems that arise when we think of the next industrial revolution. The idea that it's not this totality, that there will be so much variety, that the damages and the destruction caused by many aspects of it will be limited. I'm going to leave it there. All right. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.